One of the things I wonder is like there's so many people and stories I hear about like marriages, parents, kids, blah blah blah. I really
Mhm.
wonder if there's like anyone who was raised in a happy, healthy family. Like
I've not heard of that before.
that's what I'm saying. Like, does it
Like,
exist?
I don't think so. Like, is it fair to say, like, I feel like more white families?
I don't know, but if this is going on YouTube and you have a healthy family, leave a comment and tell us what it looks like.
Yeah, yeah. Leave a comment below.
Yeah,
No. But
follows.
do you think I actually talked about this before, but do you think mostly I feel like a lot more like white. I feel like actually maybe like when those like third, fourth, fifth generation white families.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the generational gap, the generational divides,
Mm-hmm.
and like the also the cultural divides make for more toxicity.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you're like have like similar cultures as your parents, like if your parents are born in the same place as you
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of understand the and have like a certain upbringing similar to you, you guys have more in common. You guys
Mm-hmm.
have better understanding,
Mm-hmm.
and that might make for less differences and less like misunderstanding. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're saying. I think a lot of like reasons we think that we have bad families maybe is because we compare it to other families. But if like I lived in Iran and all my friends had similar families, similar dads, similar moms,
Mm-hmm.
similar restrictions, that would just be life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah. Okay,
Like
I get it.
then
Yeah,
that's just life.
because they
It's
don't
not
know any better. They don't
because
know
you
it any different.
exactly because you don't know any different.
Yeah,
But it's like when you come to a country like Canada or America, then you see like moms who are like super nice to their kids or like dads who like get their kids whatever they want. And then you compare that your family and you're like, shit,
yeah,
I have the worst family ever. But that's because you're
yes,
comparing with other families in society. Maybe you don't know about their other issues. Maybe their Uncle Tommy is like a drug addict, but you don't know about that.
yeah.
But you compare yourself to the best things that you see, and in comparison, your family looks like shit.
Yeah, that's so interesting because like one of the that reminds me of one thing that me and my mom constantly fight about, and it's a huge cultural um divide between us is like if I'm wearing a shirt and my nipples are showing,
Mm-hmm.
like not obviously, like they're just like like it's just like, not literally showing, but like they're like, you can see like them sticking out.
Mm-hmm.
She'll like she's like that's like extremely like almost like I might as well be naked
Mm-hmm.
in her eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
like we can like constantly like argue about that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like one thing that is like such a source of like conflict between us. And it's like, had I been right, had I been maybe brought up in China
Mm-hmm.
or maybe brought up in the same way as her, I wouldn't have those arguments because I would
Yeah,
think the same as her.
because
I would be like,
your
because
friends
I
would say
would
the
think the
same
same thing
thing.
about having
Yeah,
my nipple be popping out of my t-shirt,
it's true. Because your friends
right?
would say the same thing. Guys in your town would say the same thing. Yeah, everyone would agree on it.
Mm-hmm.
But now, when you have like a conflict of cultures and beliefs and value systems, you kind of, on one hand, by choosing one, you're saying fuck you to the rest of them, you know?
Mm-hmm.
By
It's not,
saying,
yeah, and it's not. Sorry to interrupt, but it's not
yeah,
necessarily like they're wrong.
mm-hmm,
It's just a different way of thinking, right? Because I
mm-hmm,
used to get really angry at her for
yeah,
being so uptight and like almost like condemning about it.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Because like I'm like, oh my God, like Western society is all about like liberation, right? Like sexual
yeah,
liberation of women. And like I view her as like, you're not letting me have like a like, be free. But it's also like the way if you think about just like cultural relevant like relativism,
mm-hmm.
it's just like that's just like she's valid too. Like that's valid for her culture.
Did you ever think that, like, mom, if you're gonna be so strict and care about this stuff, then you should have just stayed in China?
No, that's fair.
No,
I
but
mean, like, I mean,
did you ever say that or think that?
well, yeah, like I'm like, well, you raised, I mean, your child, your daughter was raised and born in Canada.
Oh,
Like
you were born here.
I was born here. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Wait, did
got
you
you.
not know that?
No, I thought you came here as a kid.
Oh, no, no, I was born here.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to at some point, like, just accept certain things. And she
So
does. She has accepted a
yeah.
lot.
So like for
Yeah.
you, it doesn't even make sense that she's like caring about this stuff, right?
It's just so beyond, it's so just it's such a big, vast different way of thinking, like a
Mm-hmm.
completely opposite end of how I am
Mm-hmm.
and how she is. It's like we're on the opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Like I'm like I have people. I'm like more friends with like people who are just like very like it's just weird. I mean, I feel like most people are like that when you're like born here and like
Mm-hmm.
raised here, but like I feel like we're completely on the opposite ends of this like way of thinking about like the feet, like about how to present yourself and like nipples
Mm-hmm.
popping through your shirt and stuff like that.
Dude, I get that. And like we don't have enough time, but like I had so many conflicts with my parents about like cultural differences, whether it came to like plucking your unibrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
They thought like that's something that only like gay people did. Uh,
Mm,
and it's like for me, it was like so silly that from like educated parents, like that type of thinking would come from that. But anyways, there's like so much against like let's say ear piercings or tattoos.
mm,
For like me and you, those things are like non-issues. It's not a big deal. But
yeah,
it means so much more to our families for some reason. I guess
yeah.
it means losing touch with like our roots. Maybe that's the way they see it. That our
Mm,
kids are losing touch with who we are.
so it feels like it's almost like a grief thing to them.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, not only are we not passing on our culture to my kid, but like the culture is gonna die with us.
exactly that. That's
And
what I
there's like
think.
a level of grief there
Definitely.
that might come out as anger because
Yes.
that's how it usually comes out
Yes.
with our parents.
100%.
Yeah.
But
Interesting. That's a really interesting angle.
But I also think that if you bring your kid to a different country, you kind of are taking that gamble that that culture is gonna go. Like you have to take
Yeah.
that gamble.
Yeah, exactly.
If you
There
like your
has to
cult,
be
yeah.
there has to be like some give, right? Like there has to be like there's
Like
something's got to give,
yeah,
right? Like
like
you can't just be like, you know,
mm-hmm.
they're going to be exactly like us.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely different place, different
It's
culture,
yeah,
different
it's
era,
exactly different place, different time, different people around them,
different
different
influences, different
influences,
media influences, different
values, yeah,
values, beliefs.
different dating scene, different, yeah, everything is
Yeah.
different. All right,
Yeah.
so we have like 30 seconds. Should we
Okay, let's
wrap
talk
it
about
up?
China.
China.
Yeah.